So that's, let me see if I can get this to, it'd be nice if I could get Facebook Live to go up. Oh, okay, there we go. And let me get the sound. And we are live with Danielle Mann. Let me see if I can also get Facebook to go live too. Trying to connect. All right, we are live here on Facebook as well. All right, my friends and gems, I am very excited to be able to share with you the incredible story of how Danielle Mann, my friend and my gem, who in 2014 was diagnosed with progressive aggressive MS. And fast forward to 2022, she was in a wheelchair, and just 5 short weeks after she started on the stem cell activation patches, I had the great pleasure of meeting Danielle, and Danielle was walking and talking and doing over 11,000 steps a day in Florida. Yes, my friends and gems, she actually flew to Florida. She was no longer confined to her wheelchair. So, Danielle, I know you have some amazing updates to give us. Thank you for taking time out of your even busier schedule now that you are literally running around everywhere, not just figuratively speaking.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for having me back on. For me, it has been 6 months on the 16th of December that I started on the stem cell regeneration patches. My life has changed.
I bet, I believe.
I thought at 3 months that my life had changed, but boy, oh boy, my husband can't keep up with me. I walk too fast. I rush everywhere. My mom and dad can't keep up with me, and they're 81, and they're the ones that have always been trying to push me, and now I'm pushing them, which is just unheard of in my life. I feel so much better. I went this morning for a doctor's appointment, and again, got nothing but awesome news on my blood work. When we spoke at the 3-month mark, I was titrating myself off of my muscle spasticity medications. I am now off of all those medications and have been off of them for over 6 weeks now. So I am off all those medications. So something that I used to take 4 to 6 different pills 4 times a day, I'm taking none anymore. And I give all the glory and the credit to what led me to these patches. And I can't say anything but good. And I'm the classic. They say for every 10 years you are old, you need to wear them for a month. Well, I am at that 6-month mark, and I happen to be in that neighborhood of age also. And I have to agree wholeheartedly with all the testimonials I've heard and David Schmidt speaking, that my life and my whole body has changed. Originally, I lost quite a bit of weight. I gave some credit to the patches. I gave a lot of credit to my movement. I will say that Christmas was friendly to me. I did manage to add 3 pounds, but I have maintained my weight, have not gained or lost anymore. I'm very comfortable with my weight. So that's good news. My sleep, my skin. I have friends that I FaceTime with that don't even recognize me anymore. I was next door at my sister-in-law's house over the holidays, and she wanted to know, what are you doing? You look so good. Your skin is so smooth. You're just a different person. What are you doing? And I just tell people that these little patches that I was led to have changed my life. And, I won't say that, I still don't have my little aches and pains. I have rheumatoid arthritis real bad, and it tends to act up at times, but I don't have to take any prescriptions for it. I still have some gut issues. It seems that the body heals things that it knows you need healing before it gets around to the things that you want it to heal. So I'm just so excited, and I have no reason to never not use these patches, and nor do any of the people that I've introduced them to or wearing them. It's just amazing.
That is extraordinary. So let's talk a little bit further about this, because this tiny little patch, which is 3 centimeters wide, it's basically the size of a quarter. I'm going to put it, against this dark background so that you can see. It is the root cause for you having made the incredible strides, literally, where you went from being confined from being in a wheelchair for years to being able to walk and go everywhere and have this radical life transformation. And the truth of the matter is that your body, Danielle, even in the state of being with MS and rheumatoid arthritis and all sorts of conditions, some of that you were diagnosed with and were aware of, and others that you're not aware of, because that's true for all of us. Your body, even in that state, was still the source. It was still the battery that turned on the stem cells, and it just used this little stem cell activation patch to turn it on. This is the light switch, and you were the battery. And here you are 6 months post.
And I want to share something. I go to the doctor frequently because of my MS. And I have now I go every 3 months to the Shepherd Center for my treatments. And the last 2 visits I have walked in. They've never seen me outside of my chair. And my one little nurse is just all excited about all these changes. And then you get to the one doctor, and the doctor just, I don't think you should use those, because like the glutathione, which is a supplement patch that's available, I don't think you should use those. And she couldn't interpret that they were non-transdermal patches. And she even wrote in my notes. So then I went to the major doctor this last time, and he looked, and I explained the non-transdermal to him. And his response was, "Girl, whatever you're doing, keep it up. Give me information, because this is obviously something that my MS patients need." And I have shared it, and it's just, I can't say enough good about what's changed in my life.
Yeah, it really is quite extraordinary. And once they become aware and start to realize, and any doctor, any holistic care practitioner, any human being that is coming in contact and starting to learn about the fact that it's in your conscious now, and you're aware that these exist. Now it's just a matter of, okay, well, let's look at the research studies. Let's look at the data. The Department of Defense does not hire flakes. They do very strict routine background checks that are very intensive, especially if the Department of Defense is hiring a contractor, a scientist that is going to be brought on under contract to create something to activate the Navy SEALs, Black Ops bodies. They're not just going to put whatever. And so there's a lot of big vetting, background checks, clearances that have to take place. And David Schmidt successfully passed through all of that. And then, thank God, literally, that he created the stem cell activation patch, because the Department of Defense said, we need something for our Navy ops, or Navy SEALs, to optimize their bodies, because when they're in the submarines for 90 days at a time, where they don't get fresh air, they never see the sun, they're constantly bombarded with radiation from all the electromagnetic fields, plus the blue light toxicity from all the LED lights, their bodies are not necessarily operating at optimum. And they're the Navy SEALs. They have to be at the highest level possible, because they're the first line of defense for us, right?
Correct.
And so it came to pass that he created, it was, and he acknowledges, he went into meditation, and then it was exactly told to him exactly what he needed to do, how he needed to do it. And he created the first stem cell activation patch 22 years ago. And then when he was, we had 9/11 that took place. And then as a result of 9/11, the defense spending changed. And then he was free to expand the line to completely take care of the entire body through literally 12 stem cell activation patches. We have the mother stem cell activation patch. We have the daughter stem cell activation patch. Actually, this is an ice wave patch, a 2-patch system. Ice wave. Did you have the need to use ice wave with your MS, by the way?
I will tell you that for me, the pain was addressed so much better for me with the Nirvana supplement.
Okay.
I do give a lot of credit to that Nirvana patch. And they, there's a reason why they call it the bliss patch. But along with that supplement, it made a huge difference in my pain. Now the ice wave, yes. When my hands are bothering me, I will put a set of ice wave on them and it takes the pain away. And going back now, I haven't had to use them in a while. I would wear them on the bottoms of my feet and the tips of my shoulders to get that total body relief. So yes, I was using them. No, thank God, I don't have to use them very often anymore.
Okay, so that's a wonderful thing. And I love for people to take note of that, because I tell people, ice wave is the only patch we have that doesn't repair anything. This simply turns off the pain receptors of the body. So it's just turning the pain receptors off. Meanwhile, the rest of our patches all are repairing, restoring, and rebuilding your body at a cellular level on up. And so you mentioned Nirvana mood enhancer system. So let's talk about, I want to say that this is almost like a little secret weapon, because I think a lot of people look at, the mood enhancer system, and yeah, you see that it has patches, and yeah, you see that it has supplements. But I think some people kind of gloss it over, not recognizing, simply because they're not educated and not aware of it yet, that is a powerful, powerful patch mood enhancer system that comes with 2 little capsules that are supplements. And because it increases your beta endorphins, which are created in the brain, it brings your pain levels down. Because as soon as your beta endorphins go up, your cortisol levels, your C-reactive protein drops, and then the pain levels drop in your body. And so for a lot of people, maybe they don't have depression, although usually pain and depression go hand in hand, because when you've had chronic pain,
it's hard not to get depressed.
And maybe you don't acknowledge depression. Maybe you're just like, I'm sad all the time. But it is sad, and it is very depressing when you don't have any end in sight, when you're going from a place of being in pain and you're trying to manage not to go from terrible pain that's a level of 9, almost 10, to excruciating pain that you didn't think it could get any worse. And now you're like, this is the most horrific pain ever, because I hiccuped, I sneezed, because I moved too quickly, because someone slammed the door and I flinched. And yes, my friends and gems, I was one of those people after I got hit by a bus when I suffered my traumatic brain injury and neck injury. I wish I would have had these patches, because it's not just a matter of a few months. It's not a matter of just a year. It's like, a year and a half passes. Now it's 2 years. And you're like, when is this going to let up? 2.25 years, and you don't know if you're going to be this way for the rest of your life, if it's actually going to get worse and stay worse, or if it's going to roll back. And for my mindset was that I knew how the body worked and healed. So I knew that it was going to heal. What I didn't know was how long. But with pain comes sadness, comes frustration, comes a lot of irritation, because you're already in so much pain. And depression, even if you're in denial of depression, you can be in a depressed state because you are in this constant battle with not wanting to feel something that is so, it's so painful. You're suffering, and you're not necessarily resisting it, but you would like to find something that will we even negotiate with ourselves. It's like, okay, it's fine for it not to totally go away. If I could just take it down, kick it down a notch, 30%, 50%, anything, just bring it down any level whatsoever, just to get a little bit of relief. Then I can, a low model, even a medium modicum of pain I can manage, but this is just right now, it's like too much to bear.
Right.
So this Nirvana mood enhancer system, along with using what I like to affectionately call the Fantastic Five, which is your mother stem cell patch, the 39, the daughter stem cell patch, the 49,
The Aeon.
the glutathione, the carnosine, and the Aeon. The Aeon patch brings down inflammation, which is usually the source. It's the root cause of pain in the body, typically is inflammation. So we're going to share a little bit. And Danielle, I'd love for you to chime in and you bring some of your perspective, because people, as they're watching and listening to your story of transformation and how you've been able to restore and rebuild your body with the original stem cells that you were conceived with, which is why you're no longer confined to a wheelchair and you can show up to your appointments. You can walk and run to your appointments, and you're literally running around everywhere now, right?
Yes, I am.
So let's talk about this X39. What were some of the insights that you had about X39? I'm just going to show the Fantastic Five for people that are curious. And just as a little disclaimer here, first of all, we don't treat, we don't heal, we don't cure, we don't diagnose anything. We always refer you back to go back to your primary care physician, whoever's managing your care that you've entrusted yourselves to. And then by all means, you can, just like taking aspirin at home. If you take a Tylenol, you don't need your doctor's permission. You don't need your doctor's permission, to take these FDA compliant class 1 medical devices. Okay. However, it probably is a good idea to share them with your doctor, because there's all sorts of extra added benefit that might come from that. You have your mother stem cell patch. You have your daughter stem cell patch. You have glutathione. Why don't you share with our folks? Weren't you taking glutathione and
Yeah, I used to get glutathione shots.
Okay.
And on a regular basis, and they can become very costly when you're doing them on a repeated basis. And what fascinates me about the glutathione patch is you put it on, you simply stick it on, you wear it for 12 hours, you take it off, and what's happened is your TSH levels are increased by 300%, but they're increased for 24 hours. I used to go get those shots, and the shot hurt longer than it lasted in my
7
body.
minutes. Yeah, it's
like
good for
7
minutes in your bloodstream, and then it dissipates. Yeah.
I mean, and when I started, I was very sick, and I wore glutathione every day. And I have now gone to where I wear it every other day because the levels stay there, and I am doing so much better health-wise. So because my glutathione levels are increased, I go every other day now with that. But up until a month ago, I was wearing it every day.
So you were taking glutathione shots. Were you taking them monthly or weekly?
No, weekly.
Weekly. So you're doing glutathione shots weekly. And how much were you paying for a glutathione shot?
They were like $30 a shot.
Okay, wow. So that's pretty good. So that's $120, a month that you're paying just on those glutathione shots. And they're only
I'm not paying it anymore because I'm wearing the patches.
Yeah, so you were able to get rid of that expense, and instead you were able to basically allocate that money to a glutathione patch, which actually was less than
to a whole set of patches that have changed my life in such a way
that are affecting your blood 300 to 600% elevated glutathione levels basically every day of the week, 365 now. So that is absolutely fantastic. So glutathione, we cannot talk enough about glutathione enough, because glutathione is the master antioxidant. It's your immune booster. This is what increases your antiviral properties in your body, your first line of defense against any germ virus.
And this is the one patch that, because an individual with my condition has an overactive immune system, the first thing out of that physician's mouth was, you can't do that because your immune system is already overactive. What I have learned from David Schmidt is all of these X39, X49, all the supplemental patches, they're bringing our body into balance.
The homeostasis, absolutely. Talk a little bit about what you felt as your body started to get, because it is a shift in chemistry. You've got neurochemistry and you have biophysiological chemistry that's all being gently, sometimes not so gently, because sometimes people have detox effects. Can you share, what was your experience with that?
I did not have any immediate relief at all. But again, I was in a position where this was brought to me for a reason. I had nothing to lose but to try it. So immediate, I felt nothing, but I began to notice within probably 4 or 5 days some changes. And as time went on, and my folks can vouch for this, my husband can vouch for this, my speech has changed. I'm not as slow to speak as I used to be. My hair, I was going gray. I'm going backward now. I just have a little left and I don't have to color my hair.
A lot darker than when I met you in August.
And I have all this new hair growth that's just amazing.
Baby hairs, yeah,
I got all these little baby hairs. My skin, I'm not one that wears makeup or anything. So it was kind of like the Alavita for me, the skincare system. That was probably the last. And I really started to study that patch for my mom because of the oxidative stress that it addresses. And then when she was having success with that, I decided I have nothing to lose. I'm going to try it too. Mm-hmm. So I've tried it and I'm now using the cream, and my 6'4" bald husband is using the cream on top of his head every night as well as his face. So hopefully we're both getting younger at the same time. I told him he needs to make sure he does it every day or he's going to look old next to me. I'm getting younger.
Because you're definitely getting younger. So this is what the Alavita, the sleeve. So we call them sleeves because in this sleeve, it's basically a special envelope that holds the 30 patches, because each sleeve has 30 patches. So let's talk a little bit about the fact that even your speech increased, because one of the beautiful things about the patches is that they work systemically. So it works not just on a nerve in the stomach or in the heart or in the lungs. No, it works on your autonomic nervous system, your central nervous system, which MS is a condition where your immune system turns on your central nervous system, as opposed to another neurological condition called Guillain-Barré, is where your immune system turns on your peripheral nervous system. So with MS, you have that compromise where your immune system kind of goes haywire and it decides to attack your central nervous system, which results in a paralysis and all sorts of other different conditions in the body. Let's talk about the fact that your speech increased.
I used carnosine. Mm-hmm. And again, when I started, that is one of the three, when I started, I wanted to look at, I had nothing to lose for myself, but I was also considering my parents, and they're both 81. And my dad just doesn't have it together like he used to. So that's why I originally looked at carnosine. But once I started looking at carnosine, it has so many benefits that I could benefit from. So I started using carnosine, and it's another antioxidant, but this antioxidant loves my heart and it loves my brain. And we've seen a change in my dad. My dad will tell you the same thing. He's smarter than he used to be. I mean, that's kind of what he says, I mean, he's just got it together a little more. It's just been another amazing patch. And I do believe that it aids in the wound healing, because my husband, being bald, is always hitting his head, and he wears carnosine every night. And his wounds, that when he scrapes his head, have not been bleeding and have been healing much quicker than they used to.
So one of the things that carnosine is wonderful for too is the general public is not aware of the fact that your brain function, your brain processing speed, your focus, your memory is all tied directly to your cardiovascular system. If your cardiovascular system is poor, then your brain processing speed, your memory, your focus, you'll have brain fog, you will have lapses in memory, or you may have poor memory altogether, where you may have little short-term memory or no short-term memory, etc. So carnosine, as soon as you start to wear carnosine, it helps not only everything related to the heart, everything related to the muscles, everything related to the cardiovascular system, but it immediately boosts the speed with which you learn, you absorb, and you recall information. So now one of the things that I know that I noticed, and I want to ask you if you noticed that too, because you're going from a very compromised state as someone with MS to now you're on these stem cell activation patches, and you fast forward 30, 60, 90 days. You know, you're also learning about these stem cell activation patches. Did you find that you quickly were able to learn, understand, absorb, and then recall the information about what the patches were without trying too hard to learn about?
What's very interesting to me, Lillian, is that I had a lot of vision problems also. And the vision, my last report, I had marked improvement on my one side, and my other side did not decline anymore. And I've been unable to read. I love to read. And I was stuck listening to Audible books. Well, Audible books are okay if you're out in the pool, but it doesn't give me the same as having book.
Aesthetic, yes.
Yeah, and I have noticed progressively as time has gone on that I'm reading more. I'm able to read more. I'm able to keep more of that information absorbed. Matter of fact, right now I've taken on the personal study of the lymph nodes because I really want to understand them. So I'm kind of personally studying up on all that stuff. And yes, it has made a marked difference for me as far as my brain and being able to hold on to things. Another thing I used to do that I couldn't do, that I just decided I was going to try again, was I used to play mahjong all the time.
What was it called?
Mahjong, the Chinese, Oriental, you like dominoes, but Asian. And I can play it again now. And I got to the point where I wasn't able to play it because I couldn't focus. I couldn't see visually, nor could my brain formulate these puzzles. And I'm able to do that again. I just started doing it this last week.
Oh my gosh, that's
so it's just,
that's a progression.
And I'm going to go one more spot. When I started the patches back in June, I also started using Duolingo, learning Spanish. Now, I had already done the Latin, but I started Spanish when I started the patches in June, and I have been in the Diamond League every week, like the last 13 weeks now or something like that, which is just unheard. I mean, that because I can comprehend and bring this stuff back out.
And it's effortless. It's not like you're trying to learn. It's not like there isn't an effort. You just read it, and then the next thing you know, it's like you know it. And then as you're talking to people and you're in conversation, it's like boom, it just comes out.
It reminds me of being back in high school when I was a straight A student and I never had to study. All I had to do was go like this,
pay attention,
book on my head.
I love that book. Do you want to?
I got to tell you, this book right here, I just got it the other day. I happen to know the author. I had the opportunity to meet her in Florida. She is this precious woman. She has these lovely terms she uses, like friends and gems. She is as real as it gets. And this book was just amazing. I couldn't put it down once I opened it. That she has her own little sayings in here. She has something that she recommended you write down on paper about your intuition or put it on a mirror. Well, I put it on my bathroom mirror. My husband came home that night and he said,
"What happened?
Well, I have something I need to be worried about. You got writing on the mirror." Great book. I would recommend it highly to anybody. It is just, it's so enlightening. I was driving across town this morning early and practicing a couple of the things that you had in here, and it set myself up for the day. It was just incredible, but I would highly recommend your book and you, because you're wonderful.
Oh, thank you very much. You know what? I'm shocked that you read it as quickly. You just got the book.
I've read it twice.
I'm like, how, that's like
I
amazing.
read it the afternoon it came, and then I read it again yesterday.
So if that's not a testimony, and that's a story too, because wow, for her to read the entire
Yeah,
book.
I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I'm reading about 4 books a week now. And
Wow.
then I'm studying the lymph node system and stuff right now. So but I'm having a blast, but because I haven't been able to do this for years. I'm a retired school teacher and I haven't been able to use my brain, and I love it.
So you're catching up exponentially. And so that is something that I always like to share with folks, is the fact that once you get on these stem cell activation patches, things start to happen at a quantum level. And I think sometimes people don't quantum. It's like you hear chicken. It's like whatever that thing is that you're chewing, that's not a vegetable. It's everything is like chicken. And it's like quantum just means that it's happening at a subatomic particle level, at a cellular level, but it's also happening exponentially fast. We're used to thinking on a linear progression. We think that if it took a year for this to happen, okay, so if it took me a year to save $1,000, it's going to take, if I want to save, $10,000, it's going to take 10 years. That's not really how this works. This happens at a quantum level where it's like a curve. It's going all the way up. It goes literally up to infinity, where at the beginning, it's going to, when you first put on the patches, you have 33% of your stem cells that were previously off, because anyone who's 30 years old, 50% of your stem cells have turned off. And if you're 60, almost 100% of them have turned off. So now a third of the original stem cells that you were conceived with, boom, lights on, literally lights on. So now you have these stem cells that are on, and they're immediately designed to go to wherever there's damaged cells. And if you need a heart cell, if you need a lung cell, if you need an autonomic nervous system cell, if you need a nerve in your brain, in your retina, wherever it is that you need it, your stem cells are going, boom, we're sending the cells directly to where they need to go. And as long as you drink 50% of your body weight in fluid ounces of water, the cells won't stick on their way, leaving the stem cell. It won't get stuck. It'll actually get to where it needs to go, because now it has the water. Water has electrolytes. Water have electrons in, at the molecular level. So now that can go where it needs to go. Do you want to talk a little bit about water and your water consumption? Because for some people, drinking the water is like no big deal. They're like already drinking a lot of water. And for other people, they're like, oh, but I'm going to be in the bathroom all the time. And I'm sure, as someone who you were told you had to now drink all this water, you're in a wheelchair. It's a big deal anytime you have to get out of your wheelchair. So this is a legitimate concern. So can you share some of that? And I hope that's not too personal.
No, you're fine. I actually have nerve damage there also. So I was already trained to go every hour on my own, which I'm not having to do that anymore. So there's just another little check that's been checked off. I wasn't a real water drinker. My idea of water was coffee or tea, or lemonade. Or one of those Vita water drinks, anyway. I'm learning. I do notice a difference, not so much these days, but in the beginning, there were some days that I would have to say it was a little bit of a detox, and I could right myself by drinking water. So the water has grown with me and grown on me as the patches have. I still get told every day by my mother when she sees me that I don't drink enough water. My father has the same issue. But it's getting easier. And I have learned that water is water, and coffee is not water, and tea is not water. All those other things are not water. So I am using real water now, but it's gotten easier.
This update. There we go. Oh, we lost connection there for a few minutes.
Oh,
okay. So you said, so the water is definitely
it's getting easier.
It's getting easier and it's getting better, but it is top of the mind awareness, and you've been conscientious about increasing your water intake from the beginning. And it was something that was manageable as you increased your water intake while you were still in your wheelchair, because you were in your wheelchair the first 5
weeks.
the first 5 weeks after you started on the patches.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So there you have it, my friends and judges. Is there anything else? Let me see. See if someone has a question here. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit the poll, but I think somebody here in the,
You know, one other patch, Lillian, that I just think for me has made a world of difference is the SP6.
let's talk about the SP6. So share with our listeners. I'm going to pull up some information on the SP6 so that people can visually read and see, because I know that people will retain it faster once we bring that up on screen here.
That the SP6 was, again, not one that I started with. You know, I mean, I was on a budget like everybody else is. And again, I was at a point, though, that I had nothing to lose by trying it. And it has all worked out for the good because I've been able to do away with other things. But I added SP6. They did a challenge, a tummy protocol challenge, and I started using SP6, and it's designed to always go on the left side of the body because of the polarity.
Mhm.
But it's like, I don't know, it has really helped. I would say my nervous system. If I was going to pick, I would say it's made a big difference. I think I do get some benefit as far as appetite.
Mhm. The function. Yeah.
Yeah, but now that I've started wearing it, it's kind of like, it's just an automatic, goes on every day.
Goes on every day. So I like to talk a lot about, because I specialize more in neurological conditions, that's kind of an area of proclivity that I have. I like to always address the issue that, yes, SP6 is for appetite and craving suppressants and so forth. It increases your digestive function, which is automatically going to bring you into balance where you don't have those cravings. If you don't have those cravings, or that's not your number one concern, I love this patch because it in fact regulates your autonomic nervous system. And I'm glad that you recognize that as an MS, someone who was diagnosed with MS and has struggled with MS in the past, you need to give whatever help and benefit to your autonomic nervous system. So this stem cell activation patch is going to go directly to turn on the stem cells that will regulate and increase the efficiency of how your autonomic nervous system works in conjunction with all the different systems of the body, while at the same time, again, it's about getting the body in balance. It brings your hormones into balance, and it also brings your hypothalamus that has to do with your fight or flight response as well. So this is a it's one of my favorite patches. Oftentimes people who have any kind of neurological condition, or people who are on the spectrum, I always say the Fantastic Five and SP6. If you can also add Alavita because of the pineal gland activation and because it reduces oxidative stress, on a gold pack, you can get those 7 patches all day long. And now you're pretty set that over the course of the next 12 months, your body is going to be reset and repaired. And you're going to see a pretty good amount of results in the first 90 days, most definitely in the first 6 months, as have you.
And I'll add real quick, my folks are 81. They started at the same time I did. They were slow, didn't recognize anything. But again, I think it was healing things that they weren't aware of. My mother was battling breast cancer and going through those radiation treatments and such.
It's hard.
And her comment now, looking back, is where would I have been without the patches? Because she had no pain going through the 30 radiation treatments because she was using Ice Wave. We've already talked about that one.
And X49 has the Faraday cage.
And she was using X49 as well as X39 during all that time. My father plays the fiddle. His arthritis in his hands, when he first started them, he was using the Ice Wave on his hands. He doesn't need it anymore. His hands aren't swollen. He had 2 trigger fingers. They're not trigger fingers anymore. That's just the little stuff, not counting the brain stuff.
So his fine motor skills have vastly improved. So let's talk also about that, because we have gross motor skills, which is like walking and waving your arms around. Those are big, gross motor skills, right? But your fine motor skills are your ability to hold a pencil or a pen, your ability to, brush your teeth. That requires fine fine motor skills. It's more detailed. And so it sounds like your father's the fluidity and the mobility of his fingers. He has more elasticity. He doesn't have any trigger fingers or any
Most
kind of
definitely.
twitches anymore. And he's an 80-plus-year-old individual, which I think in the traditional, conventional community, you would think, okay, the older the person is, the less likely these patches are to work. Well, that's conventional modality of not just thinking, but based on the body of knowledge that you've known without these patches, that would be true. However, we have to keep remembering and acknowledging the fact that a third of your stem cells that were previously dormant are now turned back on, and they're staying on while you're wearing these patches every day for the next 12 months. So that is a lot of energy. That's a lot of cell production that normally would not be to your benefit, that now is available to repair, to rejuvenate, to rebuild, to restore your body, quite literally at the cellular level. You're literally having damaged cells replaced by brand new cells. Tissue, if you had scars, if you had lesions, people with MS oftentimes have lesions and scars, even though they don't have a surgery prior to account for that scar or that lesion. But it's one of the things that happens in the body with multiple sclerosis. And so now that thickening of that tissue, guess what? That tissue is replaced with the original blueprint, the original tissue that you had prior to it having that lesion, which is obviously going to take away pain. It's also rejuvenating you from the inside out, which is why your face is so clear. You don't have the fine lines and wrinkles that you had before. They keep on lessening and lessening. You have a very smooth face and complexion. We see, it's very common for us to see in our group. We have a Telegram group we have about, what is it, about 41 or 4,200 people in our Telegram group, Danielle? Is it something like that? Something like that. It's amazing the number of people where they're like, oh my gosh, I just noticed it's been 6 months, it's been 8 months, it's been maybe a year. They're like, I forgot that I had these spots on my cheek, and somebody that I haven't seen since last Christmas just brought out. They're like, oh, what have you done to your skin? All the spots that you had on your cheeks, they're gone. They hadn't even noticed until someone brought it up to them. They're like, oh, you're right. Oh my gosh, yeah, I used to have these. I've had that since I had my third child or my second child or whatever. And
well, things like, for me, things like I used to drag my right leg. My leg doesn't drag anymore. I don't have the foot drop anymore. I didn't notice it because it becomes a part of your life. Just like we don't notice changes here because we just don't.
yeah, it's gradual for us.
But, it's my husband that points out, you don't drag anymore. You need to slow down. You don't like going to the grocery store with me anymore.
You're so quick. So for those of you who are watching live, and there are some of you who are going to be watching this on the replay, if someone referred you, whether it was Danielle, whether it's a friend, a neighbor, a doctor, a holistic care practitioner, whoever it may have been that had directed you to this link to watch this video, get back to them, because they can send you information on how you can get started so that you can get your hands on these stem cell activation patches and you can start to benefit from this life-saving technology. Make no mistakes, my friends and gems, and you guys really are my friends and gems. I remember watching Star Trek and Star Wars growing up, and I used to think, it's like, oh my gosh, someday, we're going to have this, we're going to be able to zap people with this or that. We're going to be able to, patch someone this way or that way. And it's like, wow, it's like, this super technology that David Schmidt likes to talk, he likes to say it's Tony Stark technology, like the Marvel characters, right? And it's here right now. And so I don't believe in mistakes or accidents. I really believe that we have divine appointments. So whether you're watching this live and you've been looking for something that might possibly relieve you from pain, that might possibly restore your body to a younger, healthier state, make no mistakes. You've been asking and it's being given to you right now. At the end of this broadcast, we always have, you can always put a comment below if you need to get in touch with myself, if you need to get in touch with Danielle. But really, if you have a friend or a neighbor, whoever referred you, get back to the person, text them, call them, let them know, you know what? No one's going to pressure you. This is not about selling you anything. We're really big on information and education. Our practice has 711 doctors and holistic care practitioners. And I have no idea how many people we have at the group at large, but I'm talking just about the medical practice per se. So that's a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. All 711 of us actively use these stem cell activation patches. And then we have people like Danielle, who's an actual brand partner who you probably never anticipated, Danielle, that this would also make a difference in your financial life. We're not going to talk really about the business aspect of this because we really are focused on the education. But for those of you who are thinking, you know what, I've been looking for something that will really change my life. And if this is something that it's as good as it's been for Danielle and as it's good as it's been for me, Lillian, you might think you might want to consider this as either something on the side or something to, I've had nurses who have retired and decided, you know what, as a direct result, because of the incredible benefit that they've had from using these patches, they're like, I'm going to work my way to retirement so that I can then just have my practice be where I am a stem cell activation patch specialist and develop my practice where this is all I'm doing, because it's such an incredibly fulfilling experience to be able to hand somebody a bit of information that is accessible to them. They can get their hands on it within less than a week's time. You can actually be putting these stem cell activation patches on. So look in the description of this YouTube video, this Facebook Live, we'll put it in the description as well, because we're simulcasting here to people on Facebook. They're watching at the same time. And you can always get on a Zoom call. We have on Love and Money Secrets TV, we have info Q&As that have been recorded. If you want to get on I do every day at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. except Fridays. I don't do Fridays, but Monday through Thursday, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We post the times to 12 different countries. Anything else you want to add, Danielle?
If you don't try it, that's your fault at that point. It's just when people ask me now, it's criminal if I don't say anything to them.
Yeah, you could help someone literally get out of a wheelchair and save their life. Yeah, and like David Schmidt says, try it for 30 days. And if after 30 days you want your money back, we don't even ask why. You can just call the corporation up, call the 800 number. You don't even have to call the person who referred you. Just call the 866 that, whether you're in Europe, doesn't matter. We're in 81 different countries. Just call your customer service number and you don't even have to return. Obviously you've used the patches, so you get your money back and you have the benefit of having your stem cells on for those 30 days. That's it. Very few people exercise that option. So what if this is
it's because they see the benefits of it It's kind of like me. I started with the 2 and now I wear 7 or 8 every day.
Yeah, like myself. I'm gonna show my little strip.
Yep.
I've got a few there. And then I've got a few under my belly button. I've got the Fantastic 5, and I wear more than just the Fantastic 5 because, at night I like to wear the Alavita to activate my pineal gland, to reduce oxidative stress. I wear carnosine at night. So I wear those. David Schmidt wears them in that fashion. On the right temple, he'll wear carnosine. It does give you pretty cool, vivid dreams. I had another very cool, vivid dream. And you remember them because carnosine is increasing your brain processing speed, increasing your memory and your focus. So you wake up, and I remember my dreams every morning after I wake up. I'm like, okay. And sometimes there's certain actions that I have to take based on what I recall from the dream that otherwise I don't think I would remember. And even though I've kept a dream journal for a long time, it's, sometimes there were days where it's like, oh, I barely remember the dream. Now I always remember the dream in the morning when I wake up. So
I have to say, these patches for me, it's so much easier than taking a bunch of pills, having trouble getting into the prescription bottles. My husband would have to open them up and then one would get knocked over and they'd go flying all around. I don't have that problem anymore. All I do is peel a little paper off and stick it on and wear it for 12 hours and then take it off and do it again, repeat, the next day. It's just so much easier.
Yeah, it is so much easier. Well, thank you, Danielle, for sharing your story of transformation. And I'm so excited that you were able to give us this wonderful update. Thank you for tuning in, tapping into Love and Money Secrets TV, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe this video. Who knows, you might save a person's life or make their day. Maybe this is their Christmas wish that they thought, oh, Christmas passed. My Christmas wish is still unfulfilled. Maybe this is the Christmas wish. Maybe this is the end of the year or the beginning of 2023, the wish that will be fulfilled for them. As always.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for letting me give another update on my 6-month mark. I'll see you back in 9 months.
Yes. Are you going to be in
Florida? I'll see you in Florida. Yes, ma'am.
I'll see you in Florida in a couple of weeks. Can't wait to see you in Minnesota at Leadership. And thank you for reading the book and being a
oh my goodness, you guys, please do yourselves a favor and introduce yourself to this book. I've read it twice. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's still brand new, but I'm already putting things that I've learned from this book in play. And thank you, Lillian.
Love you.